Alright, so I'm trying without my earphones. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me? Because first time I've done it without my earphones, it is a little bit windy, but maybe I'll just put them in a minute. So, and about my 21-day shifter program, there's a lot of people that are asking me how long will it be there, how long will you have it at this price, and to be honest, the answer is I do not know. So as with everything that I do and everything I've ever done in my business, it's always intuitive. I'm always trusting what I'm selling, when I'm selling, what programs I have open, when the doors close. Like, it always comes in intuitively. So if you've ever wanted to work with me, I wouldn't be hesitating in a way, because I just don't know how long I'm going to leave the 21-day shifting program at 222. So I'm going to check that I'm in. So yeah, if you guys can let me know if you can hear me or not. Like, if it's too windy, I'll put my earphones in, because I didn't put them in yet. So I'm just going to share this as always. And hopefully my phone doesn't get overheated. So this might be just a short message, but it's a message that wants to come through, because it is very warm here today. A little bit nervous for some reason, but maybe that's just maybe that's just the coffee going through my veins this morning or something. It's a bit weird. Okay. All right. The sound of the waves, yeah. All right, so maybe it's not too windy, which is good. Alright, perfect. We are shared and we are alive. So I'll just leave my earphones for now. Or is it windy? Can you guys hear the wind? Because if I put my earphones in, you won't be able to. Maybe that's fine. I'll pop them in so I don't have to stress about it. And there's my Jasmine in the background. She's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be playing with me, not going live on the damn live stream. Alright, so maybe you can hear me better there. Okay. So I want to talk about this thing, and I was like just sharing with someone, and I'm like, I need to live stream about this. And the reality is that sometimes it's just time. So sometimes we can be like beating ourselves up for thinking that we should have done it a different way, or why did we do that, or why did we, think about it like that, or why didn't I do different things, or why haven't I been nurturing my feminine? Why haven't I been giving to myself? Why haven't I blah, 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 blah? And like, that in itself is draining in a way, right? And hang on. Jazz, come here. We're not playing ball now. We can play after. Just sit down. She won't stop. She'll just keep going. So sometimes we can think that we're supposed to do it sooner or a different way or whatever. And number one thing to remember is that when we're like, I want to say regretting something or thinking we should have done it differently or blah, 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 like at the end of the day, what that is part of the grieving process, right? It's actually part of grieving the change. Right? And I always talk about in Trust Intuition, which Trust Intuition is opening soon, right? I'm only going to hold Trust Intuition once a year. And so the doors, the early bird will be opening for that soon. We're going to start in February next year, and you will only be able to get in once a year. So anyway, Trust Intuition, I teach this, that it's part of any change that you go through, the grieving process happens. And part of the grieving process is, oh, why didn't I do it this way? Or if I'd just done it this way, then things would be different now and that wouldn't have happened. Like, it's part of the grieving process, and you have to remember that. The second thing is that if you were meant to do it a different way at the time, you would have, right? As I always talk about as well, like if you it's not like you were at that, situation and you were like, oh, this is the wrong choice, I'm going to make this decision. Like, we don't do that, right? That we don't work like that. So then when you also look at the point of, you know, like back then that was the right choice and it's led you to this point now, and this is just where you're supposed to be. Part of the grieving process, or should I say part of the awakening process, is thinking about what we should have done differently, okay? The other thing is that when we're learning something new, when we're like, you know, working to change our life and we step into this like thing of changing our life, you know, like the fastest way to change your life is to block everything out and do the thing, right? If you were like at school or doing a university degree or something like that, the same process applies. Of course, there's like a structured 4-year thing or whatever the length of time is, right? But if you look at it, it's like you do need to block out everything else and get your university work done, right? And then at the end of that, you might be like, cool, I've got a degree now or whatever it is. But you're also like, oh, well, that part of my life is not the same anymore. And I don't have those sorts of friends anymore. And now I've got new friends, or like there'd be some sort of change. Now you might look back and go, oh, well, I wish I did it differently, right? But at the same time, you blocked everything out because you were advancing your life in this particular area. And then after you've now got your certificate or whatever it is, you're recalibrating into a new life with your new thing. Otherwise, you'd be just still going on the same path and wouldn't be achieving anything or wouldn't be getting anywhere. You'd just be, you know, maybe that's fine. Maybe you don't want to achieve anything. Like, you don't have to. But the point that I'm saying here on this live stream today is that sometimes it's just time. And we can look back and go, oh, well, I should have done it that way. Or we might get triggered because that person's saying that and it's like, well, yeah, they read my post and, you know, like, well, yeah, I could have done it differently. Or maybe I shouldn't have said on a live stream that I'm being a victim. Or maybe I shouldn't have said what I said on that live stream or blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, it's what I choose to say. It's what I choose to, it's my feelings. It's my reality. And nobody can tell you what your reality is. And nobody can say what your feelings are or what you're supposed to feel or anything like that. Nobody. And so it's not about like, oh, well, I should have done it this way or I should have, it's important that Jasmine's in the picture. It's important that, you know, I should have done it this way or they're saying that, so now I feel bad because I should have done it that way. Like, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you've been trusting your intuition the whole time. And you've needed to learn what you've needed to learn to get where you are today. And you should have, and it's like, this is part of now the change of doing something different. You've been in a vortex, you've been in a 4-year university degree or whatever the story is, and now you've finished that part of your life. And so there's a recalibration process that's going on so that you can now expand with these new skills, with this new part of your life. And sometimes, right, and this is what I was saying in the group the other day as well, that someone said something about like you've got no purpose, or, you know, like sometimes it feels like I've got no purpose anymore, or my purpose is done, my purpose is finished, you know. Some people say when your purpose is finished, well, then you die. Well, maybe it is, right? At the same time, we go through lots of little deaths of our purpose because our purpose is always evolving. And just like I gave that example of the university degree, I don't know why I'm using that, but I'm using that 4 years of a university degree, and then you have finished that, and now you can go off into the workforce and do what you studied for example. That process of change is going to feel like, I want to say, you got no purpose, in a way of like, well, for 4 years you've just been in the vortex of doing what you're doing, and now you're like recalibrating into, you know, landing the perfect job or whatever it is. But sometimes it can feel like you've got no purpose until you get that job. So our purpose always goes through deaths, right? We always go through death, and it can feel like death, and it's very dark. And nobody can tell you what your feelings are in that. And nobody knows what you've been through, and nobody knows your experiences. So don't let anyone else's thoughts enter your mind that you should have done something differently. But when you look back, you will also see that, well, I actually needed to walk that path. I needed to walk through that fire. I needed to walk through that darkness. Because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't understand what I do today, and I wouldn't be here today ready to do this next thing. But sometimes there's a loss and there's a grieving process. Like any change in your life, if you look at it like a relationship breakup, it's going to help you to understand the process of what you're going through more. So even when you're going through different phases of your purpose, if you look at when you're feeling lost and stuff, it's like a relationship breakup, because your identity is changing, and what you once thought you were doing, or the path that you thought you were doing, is going through a big change. So when you can really understand that your purpose goes through deaths, right? And it's okay to feel lost, right? I always say you're not lost, you're recalibrating. I did an entire live stream on that, okay? You're not lost, you're recalibrating. And when you can really come into the depths and understanding and trust in yourself about that, you're going to feel, it won't make it feel better, but you will feel a little bit more grounded through it, knowing that this is just a process of change to getting to the next phase of your next life, right? Of your new life, of what you've gone through and now what you're creating, but it's okay to also not know what you're creating in that process. So sometimes it's just time. And I think I wrote about this the other day as well, or something. I wrote it somewhere. You know, I believe in doing stuff to make shit happen, 100%. You get intuition, you need to act on that to be able to manifest it into reality. Like, it's a two-way street. There's a thought and a spiritual thing, and then there's a physical body and moving forward with that action, right? That's the physical manifestation. You need to take some sort of action, right? I also believe wholeheartedly there's also a divine timing to things happening, right? And so in that lost or stuck phase, there's also a divine timing that allows you to accelerate with rapid, full force ease, because of everything that you've been doing to date, right? And sometimes it can feel like you're hitting a brick wall and a brick wall and a brick wall and brick wall, and then just all of a sudden it's gone, it's done, it lifts off, whatever. It happens because of all the groundwork you've done, because of all the intuitive action that you've taken to date, right? But sometimes there's also a divine timing and a divine alignment for that to happen, for that to come to fruition, yeah? So sometimes it's just time. So be gentle with yourself when you're going through a phase of like, I don't know, this way I'm clear, oh no, not that way. Like, it can feel like a mess for a good 18 months, by the way, right? It's a healing portal of time, 18 months. Yeah, it doesn't have to take that long, but sometimes it does. And when we can be aware of that, we know that this is just a recalibration into the life we know we're meant to live, into the life we want to live, into the next phase of our life, even if we don't know what that is yet. Okay? So your purpose will go through times of not knowing what your purpose is, or not feeling like you have any purpose whatsoever. In a minute. It's really loud in my ears. I'm assuming it's really loud in your ears as well. Sorry about that. So, and I'm really sweating. It's quite hot. That's probably what's going on. You're really hot too. We're going for a swim after this. So, know that whatever you're going through, it's okay to feel like you don't know what your purpose is. And if you've gone through a big change in any way, shape or form, or you're trying to change your life in any way, shape or form, sometimes it's just time to have a cocoon time, to have a healing time, especially if you're going through a transformational, like, big change. Allow yourself 18 months. Give yourself 18 months to understand that. That's enough. No. Just sit down. No. Go on. Go back. Away. Go. Go, go, go. Go on. Go. It's too noisy. She knows that it's noisy. All right, now should we go and do it down there probably? All right. She's going to get playtime now. So know that it's okay to not know what you're going to do for a good 18 months. Like, give yourself an 18-month portal so that you can, number one, allow yourself to heal from what you've just gone through. Give yourself time and space. And that doesn't mean that you don't do what you know you need to do. It doesn't mean that you just lay on the couch for 18 months. I mean, like, maybe you need to, right? But it does mean that you can be gentle with yourself for a good 18 months in allowing yourself that healing cocoon, no matter what change you've gone through, to allow yourself the transformational time to be able to move to your next phase, whether you've gone through a relationship breakup, a divorce, a career change, moving house. Like, give yourself 18 months to just ground in and heal from everything you've gone through. When you can do that, you're more gentle on yourself. You realize you're not going crazy. You're just shifting something massive out of your life. It's okay. And I think that this stuff needs to be taught in schools, that it needs to be it's 18 months of healing time. Like, imagine if the doctors said that to you, like, oh, you went through a big change. Oh, okay, give yourself 18 months, be gentle with yourself, do your work, still turn up, do what you need to do, care for yourself and your family, blah, 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 blah. But be okay for not knowing for a good 18 months. Yeah, it's so important. Healing time. Let yourself heal. Let yourself be gentle. Let yourself get comfortable in the not knowing what's next, which is a very tricky thing to do, and you need to train yourself to be okay in that, right? You wish your family understood that? Yeah. And so when we can understand that for ourselves, we can somewhat block them out and just go, yeah, okay, cool, got it, but just leave me alone, because we know, yeah? And surround yourself with people who know that. So in my Reality Awareness support group on Facebook, it's a free support group. You can post in there if you need support. We all get it in there, okay? We become your soul family, that we understand this level of darkness. We understand this level of change. And if you want to amp that tribe up, Trust Intuition Tribe is where we really do the work around this, right? So Reality Awareness support group on Facebook is my free group. So you can type into the Facebook search bar, Reality Awareness support group. It'll come up. That's my free group. Even though it's free, there's still lots of support in there. There's a beautiful tribe in there. But if you want to amp up the support, Trust Intuition will be where it is. Yeah, it resonates so much. They can't see it. Yeah, and that's the thing. And they will never see it. Unless they're fully conscious, they won't see it. So it's okay to just listen to them and nod your head and go, yep, okay, thank you. And then you come into the support group and you go, I need some support with people who get it. And it just helps us stay on path and know that we're not going crazy, even though it freaking feels like we're losing our mind. Especially in this time that we are right now, especially with my energy post that I posted last night. If you didn't check that out on my Facebook page or my blog or my Instagram, you'll find it in all those places, or if you're on my email list, you would have been emailed it as well. So make sure you're around people who get it. Block out everyone else who doesn't understand intuition, who doesn't understand traveling the depths of feelings in their accuracy, in their intricate nature of how they make up our intuition. And when we understand the depths and the darkness of all those feelings that people push down, bury aside, and push aside to do whatever they do, when we understand how to travel this, when we're around people who also travel this, our intuition becomes super heightened because we understand these energy dynamics. And Trust Intuition, this is what we do in depth, but you can start training yourself now as well. So if you need support, my 21-day shifter program is where we can deeply come into one-on-one working with me. It is available at the moment. The link is on the title of this live stream. You can find it on my page or my website under Work With Me section. So in my Reality Awareness support group, it's a private group. So it's free, but it's private. So if you post in there, only the people in there. So unless your family's in that group, they won't be able to see it. However, be careful, okay? And I just put a post in there the other day. There's two places that Reality Awareness is on Facebook. There's my public page, which you might be watching this live stream now, but I do share it into the group as well. So there's my public page. Anything you write on my page, everybody in the world can see it. In the group, only people in the group can see it. So just be mindful where you are posting. I do recommend write it out on your phone in your notes or on a document or something before you post it, so you're really clear about where you're actually posting it as well. Otherwise, if you want to work one-on-one, 21-day shifter program, you've got 21 days of unlimited questions, unlimited answers, psychic readings. You're working one-on-one with me, so you step into my vortex of the way, that I understand intuition, and that rubs off on you, let alone the shifts that you have just from me, giving you those answers and helping you to trust your intuition with the depth and accuracy of the intricate nature of our feelings and emotions. How do we know what's a feeling? How do we know what's an emotion? How do we know it's intuition? How do we know even there's a difference of those, right? Very intricate nature of understanding our psyche, our emotions, our inner child shadow, like all those things, right? So yeah, so 21-day shifter is available at the moment. Like I said, some people are like, how long is it going to be available? And I'm like, I don't know, it's intuitive. So if it's calling you, I would just trust that and get in when you feel called to. So short message today because my phone will overheat, but I feel like that was the message that needed to come through, to really be gentle with yourself and know that as you go through this transformational change, you are shifting, and it's okay to feel all the feelings and get around people who also understand that. I'm going to play with my girl who's calling me and would do that all day if we were down here all day. Mwah. I love you guys. Keeping it real as always. Bye.